Hello. Have you ever felt you're doing everything right, yet life remains standing still? I'm not here to teach you how to get rich, nor am I here to tell you to try harder. I'm here to look straight into the illusions that have surrounded us for a very long time, so you can know you are not wrong. It's just that this game, from the very start, was never fair. If you're ready, let's begin. Have you ever felt you're doing everything right, yet life just doesn't get any better? Episode 1. Studying hard, working through the night, saving every penny. At the end of the month, looking at your bank account, and you're still standing still. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're not good enough. It's just something is very wrong, and it's happening in silence. Years ago, I saw my father open an old trunk. Inside were faded bills from when he was young. He looked at me, his voice firm. "Keep trying, son, work hard, and you'll have a home." Back then, I believed him in that way, where an adult speaks, and you just nod. But now, every time I save another $1,000, the price of the apartment I'm eyeing jumps a few steps further away. Not a crawl, a jump. It's like running against something with no shape. A ghost. We work more than our parents did. Faster. Longer. But our living space gets smaller. Our sleep gets shorter. And the fear gets bigger. Do you want to know? Who's holding the stop button of this race? Ever held a top-tier degree in your hand and felt your heart race when opening a job posting? Episode 2. Back then, they said a degree was the key. Insurance. I believed them. Cherished it. Studied like a machine. Competed like a moth to a flame. But when I stepped out there, I realized the lock had been changed a long time ago. That degree suddenly was just a piece of paper with my name on it. It didn't protect me from the silent layoffs. Couldn't stop my salary from being gnawed away by inflation. Until it was barely enough for rushed meals. They call it stable employment. But I look around. Nothing is stable. Inside a burning building, stability is just another name for standing still, while the world outside races by like a storm. I see those who came before me. 20 years of service, only to have a Monday morning where everything is packed into a cardboard box. Then I understood. The security they promised was the biggest trap of all. In a world where no one promises anything to anyone, the only stability is your ability to stand on your own. Do you dare to shatter that mirror of safety? Do you see it? The small chip on your fingernail after a long shift? Episode 3. It's not in the financial reports. It's not in the growth charts. They measure productivity. They optimize costs. There is only one thing that is never calculated: your pain. People say, you aren't rich because you didn't try hard enough. You aren't successful because you aren't smart enough. They call it motivation. But in reality, it's just the system shifting the blame onto a person who is already exhausted. Today, I am not here to teach you how to be stronger. I am saying this so you can hear it clearly. You are not wrong. You have the right to be tired, the right to collapse, the right to fail, without apologizing to anyone. You have no obligation to meet every standard created for a machine that cannot feel pain. Stop forcing it, because sometimes the most powerful rebellion is not enduring more. It's the moment you dare to let go and allow yourself to be just a normal human being. Do you see those public debt numbers dancing on the TV? They're so big that you think they have nothing to do with you. Episode 4. Do you see those public debt numbers dancing on the TV? They're so big that you think they have nothing to do with you. But look at your bowl of rice tonight. The money you earn is still the same, maybe even a little more. But the bowl is getting emptier. Things that were once easy to buy now suddenly become luxuries. They don't reach into your pocket to take your money. They just make the air you breathe a little thinner. Every day, a little bit more. They call it inflation. But I see it as a silent punishment. Punishing those who work the hardest. Punishing those who only know how to save and wait. When you realize you're out of breath, you already owe them an entire lifetime. Numbers don't feel pain, but the people carrying those numbers do. Can't you feel it? That invisible noose tightening inch by inch? Have you ever felt proud of being so busy? Look in the mirror. Is that the face of a living person? Or a component waiting to be replaced? Episode 5. Have you ever felt proud of being so busy? The phone rings constantly. Emails arrive at midnight. You talk about 12-hour shifts like a trophy. But look in the mirror. That face. Is it of a person who is living? Or a component trying to run at full capacity before being replaced? This system needs you busy. Because when you're busy, you don't have time to ask. No time to realize you're being stripped away. They give you the title of outstanding employee. They give you flowery compliments so that you willingly sacrifice sunsets you'll never see again, the smiles of your children that were missed and can never be returned. Meaningless busyness is the opium of this era. It makes you feel important, while in reality, you are fading away. Ask yourself, just once, are you living to work? Or are you working just to be allowed to exist? What did we do wrong that this land was already divided before we were even born? Episode 6. Back then, we were promised a brilliant future. Just study hard. Just be obedient. No one told us that this land had already been divided before we were even born. The price of everything is rising. Only the value of a human being stands still. I look at my friends, the smartest ones, the hardest working ones. They are struggling just to have a decent place to sleep. In this city, we carry on our shoulders our parents' expectations, carry on our backs credit card debts, and carry in our hearts a fear that has no name. People say we are lazy, say we complain too much, but they don't understand that we are climbing a mountain, and with every step up, the peak is pulled higher. If you find yourself exhausted, it's not because you're weak. It's because this burden was never meant for a single person. Perhaps it's time we stop apologizing for our exhaustion. Do you know the smell of an office at 3 in the morning? It's not the smell of success, but the smell of a human being squeezed dry. Episode 7. Do you know the smell of an office at 3 in the morning? The smell of cheap, cold coffee. The smell of dry air conditioning. And the smell of exhaustion silently evaporating. I sat there, in front of the glowing blue screen, eyes so tired that every blink was like a small knife. Back then, I was so proud. Proud to be the last one to leave the office. Proud of being hardworking. Until one rainy night, I stepped out of the empty high-rise, waiting for the bus, clothes wet and cold. Across the street, an old lady was sweeping leaves. She was old, hands shaking, but her eyes were calm. And me? I had the degrees, the titles, the expensive office clothes, but in my heart was a black hole. I suddenly understood. I just spent 12 hours a day beautifying numbers for someone who doesn't even know my name. I missed my grandmother's birthday, missed the first time my nephew called my name. All of it exchanged for a casual compliment. The next morning, we are taught that busyness is value. But in reality, it's the easiest way to avoid the question, If I didn't have this job, who am I? This system doesn't need you to live. It only needs you to operate. It makes you believe that if you stop for just 1 second, the world will collapse. No. Only you will collapse. We are mortgaging our souls for a future that we might never be strong enough to enjoy. And then I realized the price of this so-called success is too high. So high that it takes away the right to be a normal human being. But in the ruins of exhaustion, I see a sliver of light. It's when I dare to say, no. No to meaningless overtime. No to pre-drawn illusions of prosperity. To go back under the simple streetlights and find myself again. There are afternoons walking past glittering storefronts. Do you fear the feeling of having tried your best, yet still being left behind? Episode 8. I remember very clearly the beginning of the month, holding the rent bill, sitting on the floor, calculating which meal to skip next week. There are afternoons walking past brightly lit stores, people laughing at banquet tables. I bow my head and walk fast, not out of envy, but out of fear. The fear of the feeling that I did everything right, yet was still left behind. My parents call from the countryside. Keep trying, son. The city is where the future is. I choke back tears. Yes, I'm fine. Fine. Is a dinner of instant noodles in the dark? Fine. Is shoes with worn-out soles that I still have to polish to a shine? To meet a client? No one tells us about this pain while we are still in school. The pain of realizing kindness and hard work don't always win against inflation. Every time I save a little, somewhere, a stranger's decision makes that money evaporate half its value. We are playing a game where the rules are constantly changed by those holding the cards. They talk about financial freedom, about investing, about startups, but they don't talk about the sleepless nights, fearing I can't pay back the credit debt. But hey, don't let them break your faith. The rice bowl may be empty, the wallet may be bare, but your heart is not allowed to wither. When we dare to look straight at this absurdity, we have begun to escape from it. Don't let them define success by a bank balance. Define it by the fact that you still hold on to your humanity. In a cold world, in a cruel system, sometimes the thing that saves us is not money, but a warm steamed bun from a stranger. Episode 9. There are times I thought I was completely drained. Money and will. A late evening. The bus station. In my hand, the paper of an expired contract. I sat there like a ruin. A woman walked by. She was thin, carrying 2 heavy bags. She stopped, looked at me, then quietly placed in my hand a warm steamed bun. She didn't ask, only said, "Eat, my child, it will all pass." That bun, I ate it like a miracle. It didn't just warm my stomach, it melted a frozen soul. It turns out, in this cruel system, human beings still find each other. We are divided, to be easily managed, taught to see each other as rivals. But the truth is, we are each other's patches. Hope doesn't lie in growth charts. Hope lies in a warm steamed bun, in a quiet pat on the shoulder, in a sincere question. We may be poor in material, but we can be rich in empathy. Stop forcing yourself to be a superhuman. Allow yourself to be weak, to be sheltered, and be ready to shelter others when they fall. Because when all the sandcastles of prosperity collapse, only raw humanity remains. And from there, we begin to rebuild our lives. Have you ever stood in a brilliant crowd and felt like a ghost, carrying the weight of promises that shattered before you even began? Episode 10. The day I received my degree. My father smiled. My mother cried. They believed that, from now on, I had insurance for life. I stepped out onto the streets. Proud. Believing that if I just worked hard, the world would open its doors for me. But the streets didn't look at my degree. They looked at the bills. Looked at the public debt dancing on the electronic boards. Looked at the houses, whose prices had been pushed to the sky by those who arrived first. I chose a stable job. A cozy cage designed for cheap labor. Clocking in every morning. Returning home every night with exhausted shoulders. Only to realize, this stability is just another name for being imprisoned in a dream that isn't real. I borrowed money to shop, to look successful, so my parents could be proud in front of the neighbors. But every item I bought was just another link, tightening the noose of debt. Every night calling home to the countryside, hearing my mother's worried voice, "Have you saved any money, son?" I choked back the bitterness. How could I make her understand that my salary barely touches my pocket before it's gone into overpriced meals, rent, and interest rates? We are living in an era where promises of prosperity are just distant echoes. They told me I chose the wrong career, told me I lacked skills, but no one said that this machine was inherently designed to consume your youth at the cheapest price. Tonight, under the pale yellow streetlights, ask your own heart, are you running toward the future? Or are you running away from the expectations that are crushing your heart? Stop forcing it. The promises are already broken, and that is not your fault. Let's stay here for a little while, and then we will move on to the next sections. Have you ever felt that you are paying installments for a life whose real owner is actually someone else? Episode 11. We are often taught that the pinnacle of peace of mind is a stable job. Going in the morning, returning in the evening, a salary at the end of the month. I once regarded that as a sacred principle. I accepted sitting in a cramped office, doing repetitive tasks like a habit, and smiling at the lone digit appearing in my phone notifications every payday. But there was one afternoon. I saw a sparrow perched outside the office window. It looked at me. Then it flew away, while I remained there, beside the thick stack of files and a cup of tea that had gone cold. I suddenly realized, this stability is actually a cage woven with invisible chains. It keeps me from falling, but it also prevents me from flying. They give me a salary just enough to pay the rent, just enough for 3 meals, but absolutely never enough for me to be able to stop. If I take just 1 month off, the trap will snap shut. The electricity bill, the internet bill, the interest on the phone installments in my hand. We are not working to live. We are working to maintain our status as a laborer. I do not own that job. That job owns me. Do you ever wonder, if tomorrow this system no longer needs me, what will I have left, besides obsolete skills and a body that has been squeezed dry? Have you ever felt afraid every time you receive a call from your hometown? Not because you don't love them, but because of every question. How are you doing lately? Episode 12. It feels like another boulder pressing down on my chest. Your parents spent their whole lives with their faces to the earth and their backs to the sky. They poured all their money into your university degree. They tell the neighbors that their child is someone important in the city. They consider you the most profitable investment of their lives. How can I dare to tell them that in this glittering city, I am just a nameless grain of sand? That at noon I only dare to eat dry bread to save money to send home for my father's medicine? That I am exhausted from carrying the dreams of an entire family on my shoulders? I fear my father's pride. I ache at my mother's expectations. Filial piety has suddenly become a debt that I don't know when I will ever fully repay. They don't know that the world has changed. In their time, hard work meant having everything. In my time, hard work is sometimes only enough to keep from drowning. I strain myself to save face for the family. I wear a polished suit back home for the Lunar New Year. But I know, beneath that coat is a back that has begun to hunch under the weight of sweet lies. Listen, your parents truly love you, but they love an ideal image they have drawn themselves. As for your real self, the one crying silently in a 10-square-meter rented room tonight, do they truly see you? Have you ever thought about apologizing to yourself for living a life to please others? Do you ever feel joyful when receiving a bank card with a limit of tens of millions, forgetting that it is money you are borrowing from your own future? Episode 13. You hold the card in your hand. Luxurious. Glittering. It gives you a sense of power. The right to own things that were originally out of reach. A pair of branded shoes. The latest phone. A lavish dinner to photograph for social media. You swipe the card and feel as if you have touched prosperity. But it is a borrowed paradise. Every time you swipe that card, it is a knife cut into your future time. To pay for those shoes, how many extra hours must I work? To pay for that phone, how many breakfasts must I skip? We are using our youth to exchange for items whose value will be lost the moment we step out of the store. This system wants you in debt, because when in debt, you become the most obedient laborer. You don't dare to argue with the boss. Don't dare to quit. Don't dare to resist. Because behind you are payment deadlines chasing you like ghosts. Do you think you own those items? No. Those items own your life. Why do we work more, earn more money, but feel lonelier than ever? Episode 14. You live in a city of millions. But at night, only the blue light of the phone keeps you company. You are tired. You are exhausted. And the system tells you, reward yourself. Buy something beautiful. Go on an expensive trip. Eat something delicious. They turn your loneliness into a business opportunity. They teach you that happiness can be bought with a receipt. And when you finish buying, the feeling of emptiness hits again. Louder. Deeper. You rush into work to have money to fill the sadness. Then you are sad because you only know how to work. A perfect loop. We have lost the ability for true connection. We have thousands of friends online, but not a single person we can call and cry to at 3 in the morning. This system needs you to be lonely. Because lonely people are the best consumers. They try to fill the void in their hearts with material possessions. Listen, that branded bag cannot hug you when you are sad. And the account balance cannot comfort you when you collapse. We are getting richer in numbers, but getting poorer. Because there is no one left to touch. Have you ever felt terrible just because you saw the brilliant life of a stranger on your phone screen? Episode 15. Waking up early in the morning. The first thing you do is reach for the phone. And you see, this person just got promoted. That person just bought a house. Another person is checking in at a paradise beach. You look back at your dark rented room. Look at your old clothes. And see yourself as a failure. You don't know that. What you see is only their gallery. They only display what is most beautiful. As for the tears, the debts, the sleepless nights, they hide them away. We are living in a giant glass cage, where everyone scrutinizes and compares one another. This system fuels envy. Because envy creates motivation for you to rush into the money-making race. To prove you are not inferior. You race to get things you don't need. To impress people you don't like. That is the most horrific waste of a soul. Stop, my dear. Don't let the illusions of others define your value. Your happiness does not lie in the eyes of others. It lies in whether you dare to be yourself amidst a world that is trying to turn you into a perfect copy. Have you ever wondered why the more time-saving technology we have, the less we have a single minute to breathe? Episode 16. In the past, our ancestors waited a whole month for a letter. Still leisurely. Still slept well. Today, a message sent for less than a minute without a reply. And you already feel a restlessness in your chest. It's not because you are weak, but because your time has been shredded by endless notifications, short videos without beginning or end, and a vague fear that, if I don't update, I will be left behind. They promised technology would liberate humans. But the only thing liberated is the speed of consumption, the speed at which you work, the speed at which you spend, and the speed at which you age. You sit in a coffee shop, but your mind is already in tomorrow's meeting. You go on a trip, but your eyes are glued to the screen, waiting for a like to confirm that this moment has value. We are living in a state of constant readiness, ready to respond, ready to meet demands, ready to be exploited. Time is the only thing that cannot be bought back, but you are exchanging it for virtual numbers, to buy the toys of the era. And then one morning waking up, looking at yourself in the mirror, you suddenly ask, my youth, where has it disappeared to? Have you ever found yourself striving until utter exhaustion, just to achieve a title that even you yourself don't know what it is for? Episode 17. We are living in the era of certifications. Skill certificates, mindset certificates, certificates of promises. After this course, you will become a better version of yourself. You study, you take exams, you collect polished strings of words to hang upon your personal profile. They call it self-upgrading. But do you realize it? Their finish line is always moving. Every time you reach it, it retreats one step further. A new technology that needs to be learned. A new trend that needs to be followed. Learning, which was originally a joy, is turned into a lifelong fear. Fear of being obsolete. Fear of being replaced. Fear that you are not enough. In truth, they don't need you to be better. They just need you to believe that you are not good enough. Because when you believe that, you will continue to buy, continue to grind, continue to feed your energy into the machine. The value of a human being does not lie upon the frames hanging on the wall. Especially when, come the night, those degrees do not help you feel less lonely. When you have to face yourself, do you see it? The people who still pass by you every day, in tidy clothes, but whose eyes have long since gone dark. Episode 18. This city is full of invisible people. They sit in bright glass buildings. They dress exactly to the standard, speak the right language, and laugh at the right time. But inside is a void. They have compromised, traded identity for safety, traded silence for a position. Are you gradually becoming a person like that? The person who says, yes, when inside is a no. The person who laughs at the right time and disappears in the right place. The system loves uniformity, because uniformity is easy to measure, easy to manage, easy to optimize. Individuals with their own souls are always a disturbance, because the soul cannot be converted into productivity. They wear you down bit by bit, until you become smooth, rounded, and easy to roll along the predetermined trajectory. An afternoon after work, thousands of people walking, the same rhythm, the same weariness. Do you see yourself in that? Or do you still hold on to a bit of the defiance of youth, to dare to stop and walk in a different direction? Episode 19. The previous 18 chapters, the scent of the office at 3 a.m. The degree hanging on the wall. A suit called the future. You believe you are a warrior. But when you step into life, reality doesn't ask how long you have studied. It only asks, how long can you endure? You step out with all kinds of things people call weapons, degrees, certificates, licensed confidence. You thought you were hunting. But this system doesn't need hunters. It needs components that know how to run themselves. Your tank looks very imposing. Polished paint, labeled startup, investment, freedom. But just one bucket of cold water named inflation. It falls apart. No explosion. No smoke. Only unpaid rent. And a truth that cannot be swiped on a card. The system taught you to spend before it taught you to keep. It gave you the illusion of power. so you wouldn't realize where you were standing. That tank was never designed to win. It was born to be crushed without being able to make a sound. The paper tank is shattered. And the next thing you must face is the gaze of your parents, between two generations. Episode 20. Mother looks at your phone screen. Sees her child always busy. You look into mother's eyes. See a question she doesn't dare to ask in full. Are you okay lately, my child? You nod. In your pocket, only a few spare coins. And numbers you don't dare to add up. Parents carried mud and soil, so you could wear leather shoes. But leather shoes cannot walk on the land where they survived. They believe in hard work. You are being crushed by the algorithm. They don't understand why working 14 hours still leaves one poor. You don't know since when you lost the words to explain that having a university degree is synonymous with being more exhausted than a person tilling the soil. This abyss was dug by no one. It opened on its own. When the rules of the game changed, without anyone warning beforehand, you are standing in the middle. On one side is their past. On the other is a future not yet imagined. And as each day passes, you must choose which one you betray first. After the abyss? Let's stay here for a little while, and then we will move on to the next sections. You need an escape. And they hand you a very beautiful word. Freedom. Episode 21. You hear about letting money work. About the shortcuts. You step into games where the rules are written in small print. Waking up in the morning. The first thing is no longer breathing, but looking at the screen. Your heart rate is rented by the chart lines. The system does not call you a gambler. It calls you an investor. So you feel smarter while trembling. They say, just suffer for a few years. But as the years pass, only the anxiety swells, and the wallet thins out. Freedom never goes along with prolonged insomnia. But this trap is very clever. It makes you believe you are in control. Actually, you just switched from an employer who is present to an invisible employer who never sleeps. And tonight, when those flickering numbers turn off, if they disappear along with you, would anyone realize you ever existed? Paper tanks have dissolved. Financial freedom turned into sleepless nights. And you stand still, watching the flickering numbers decide how much longer you can breathe. Do you ever realize you are pouring out all your youth to squeeze into a party that from the beginning had no chair for you? Episode 22. You believe in effort. Believe that anyone who tries will have a share. But this system does not divide shares. It divides seats. Those who came first have sat down. They take the air, take the time, take the future itself. What they leave for you are beautifully packaged concepts. Vol and dreams sold in installment plans. You learn how to get rich from people who got rich by teaching you how to get rich. A closed circle. No way out. You run. The finish line retreats. Not because you are slow, but because that destination only exists to keep you from stopping. The party lights are still on. Glasses still clink. Laughter still rings out. Under the table, your shoes are already torn. And the chair you sought your whole life never existed. No chair. No detour. And you begin to doubt the last thing left, your own intellect. How does it feel when realizing everything you learned only helps others use you more effectively? Episode 23. You used to be proud because you were smart. Knowing how to analyze. Knowing how to critique. Knowing how to optimize. But optimize for whom? You stay up late to increase profit for an entity that is not present. You use creativity to lead others into the consumption loop in which you yourself are stuck. This is the most sophisticated cruelty of the system. It doesn't break your arms. It borrows your brain. You know you are tired, but your intellect always finds a reason to continue. Try a bit more. This is an experience. No success comes without a price. Your intellect was originally a gift, but right now, it is a gold-plated cage. The more you understand, the tighter the chain becomes. When the intellect no longer stands on your side, you find others to cling to. What will you do when realizing the ones you worship are only reading a script that they themselves do not believe in? Episode 24. You listen to them every morning, read them every night, believe their formulas like a dogma, but when your life collapses, they are not present. Their lights are still on, still positive, still telling you, try more. They don't tell about their background, don't talk about resources, don't mention luck. They are the survivors of a shipwreck and stand on the deck, guiding the one who is sinking on how to swim correctly. Those idols cannot save you, because they are the most polished layer of paint on the paper tank that you once believed in. Tonight, when the screen turns off, no one says anything anymore, only darkness and your own increasingly heavy breath. The idols are silent, intellect turns its back, and you stand outside the party of those who have already sat down. Is there ever a time you panic? When realizing you are becoming a version of the people that you once used to despise? Episode 25. You used to have edges, used to want to go astray, but this system is not assembled with differences. It only accepts square blocks. They grind you bit by bit, through meetings, through processes, through the way you must dress, speak, and laugh at the right time. Difference is called a lack of skills. Defiance is corrected into being immature. You carve yourself with your own hands to fit the mold, to be allowed to stay. Until one morning, looking in the mirror, you don't recognize who is looking back. Only a smooth marble remains. Easy to roll, easy to replace, and no one remembers the name. You have won at integrating, but lost at existing. The price of safety is the disappearance of yourself. Identity is lost. You operate smoothly, and to endure that void, you begin to lie to yourself. Each night, how many lies do you need to have enough courage to open your eyes the next morning? Episode 26. Everything will be fine. Just try for a bit longer. For the children, for the future, you build a graveyard, burying each truth down there. The truth is you hate this job. The truth is the house only holds obligations. The truth is you shop to fill the poverty inside. The lies are like painkillers. They don't heal, only delay the pain. And when the medicine wears off, the wound has been infected for a long time. The system doesn't need you to be honest. It only needs you not to collapse too soon. And your lies are the cheapest kind of fuel for it to continue running. Lies are full. The mind lets go. The last fortress begins to crack. The body. How long do you intend to ignore those chest pains and those white nights before the body goes on strike permanently? Episode 27. You can deceive the brain, but you cannot deceive the cells. Headaches without reason. Shortness of breath in a room full of oxygen. A machine being forced to run at a speed not meant for humans. You call it an occupational disease. The system calls it wear and tear. It does not measure the heart rate. It measures the next quarter's KPI. You trade health for small change, then dream of the day using that small change to buy back a normal breath. A trade-off where from the very beginning you were certain to lose. On the hospital bed, no one asks for a title. No one asks for the balance. At that moment, you see clearly. You have taken care of a machine your whole life and neglected the craftsman, who is yourself. There is a stage where everything does not explode, not collapsing, not breaking. It is just a prolonged silence. Episode 28. The phone vibrates, lights up, turns off, vibrates, lights, off, repeat. For the first time, you don't bother to lift your hand. Not because you stopped being afraid, but because you are tired to the point of having no more reflexes. Morning still comes. You still sit there. Still open the computer. Still look at the screen. But inside, there is no one answering anymore. You once thought just running a little faster. And you would escape. Escape from the pressure. Escape from the feeling of inferiority. Escape from the thought, I am falling behind. But then you realize, you are not running away from the abyss. You are running in circles. The same road. The same rapid breathing. The same feeling of emptiness. Every time night falls. No intense pain. It is just, there is nothing left to ache. In that moment, you understand, the true collapse is not when you fall down. It is when you are still standing there, but no longer know what you are standing for. You look around. Familiar faces. Human beings who still go to work every morning. Still smiling. Still talking about the future. They don't buckle. Don't give up. Don't disappear. They are very good at surviving. Episode 29. Surviving through long years. Without any more emotions. Surviving through days. Measured only by deadlines. You look at them. And wonder. The last time they were truly living was when? No one calls for help. No one bangs on the door. No one asks for the exit. The room is bright enough. Warm enough. Comfortable enough. So that no one feels the need to leave. This cage is not locked. It is just safe enough for people to lock themselves in. You once stood among them. Once were like them. Once believed that if you endured long enough, then everything would be fine. But there are things that do not kill you. They only make you accustomed to no longer being alive. And when you are accustomed to it, people no longer call it a prison. People call it life. No one forced you to kneel. It's just that standing straight is too tiring. No one forced you to be silent. It's just that speaking out changes nothing. Episode 30. No one stripped away your choices. It's just that every choice leads to the same place. You have compromised bit by bit. One time bowing the head. One time telling yourself, whatever. One time ignoring the feeling in the chest. To trade for peace and quiet. Until you no longer remember where you started. People call it maturity. People say, everyone becomes like that eventually. But one day, you suddenly realize, you can no longer stand up. Not because of weakness, but because you have knelt for too long. The pen still lies there. The office is silent. The system waits. And you understand? This is no longer a decision. It is just a question. Repeated every day. What version of yourself do you still want to continue living as? The pen is put down. The office door closes. All negotiations stop here. Let's stay here for a little while. And then we will move on to the next sections. How does it feel when you smash with your own hands the thing you built for 10 years? And realize you don't regret it at all? Episode 31. You step out of the building. The wind is colder than you thought. The sound of car horns roars on the street. But the strange thing is, it no longer beats against your chest. You stand still in the flow of people. They bump into your shoulders. Grumble. Then disappear. No one turns their head. You look down at your two hands. Empty. No phone vibrating. No meeting schedule. No number counting down your life anymore. This is not a victory. Nor is it freedom. It is just a breakpoint. You are so small that you could dissolve into the air without anyone noticing. The system still runs. The building lights are still on. Your chair will have someone else sitting in it. Before it gets dark, you are not as important as you once thought. That truth is cold to the bone. You walk. Don't know where to go. Just walking. The road surface is hard. Footsteps are heavy. Each step is one time. You move further away from the thing called success. The masks fall. One by one. Heavy. Painful. And silent. Tonight, you sleep in a room Without goals. Without promises. There is only your own breath. For the first time, you hear it so clearly. And you realize you have never known how to live without a boss standing above. No more office. No more title. Now there is only you. And the lowest needs. Do you know why? The person who just left the system is often more afraid of freedom than even when being exploited. Episode 32. The first Monday morning, you open your eyes at 10 o'clock. Not because of a good sleep, but because you don't know what to wake up for. Guilt floods in. Fast. Thick. Like dirty water rising in a sewer. The system has trained you too well. To the point that when no one gives orders, you feel you are wrong. You stand before the mirror. No shirt. No tidy face. Just a person who looks like they've just been forgotten. You eat temporary meals. Instant noodles. Cold bread. Not because you run out of money immediately, but because in your head there is a strange voice. You are no longer worthy. Those things are for people with value left. The phone vibrates. You don't answer. You are afraid of the question. What have you been doing lately? The word unemployed is stuck in your throat. It is not polite. Not elegant. It has the smell of one who has been discarded. Time begins to distort. Before, every minute had a price. Now time is a gray mass. Heavy. Pressing on the chest. Every afternoon, you go sit in the park. Look at the lottery seller. Look at the old person sweeping trash. They have work to do. They have a place to stand in this reality. As for you, you are only a rusted component, taken out and thrown to the curb, needed by no one. You once despised stability, but now, in this vast freedom, you find yourself craving a chain. Any chain will do, just as long as someone uses you. So you know you still exist. Savings thin out. Your voice also becomes smaller. And for the first time, you see the world change its face. When you have nothing left to exchange. Do you know what hurts more than having no money? Is when you realize the respect you once received was only an advance payment for the business card you once carried. Episode 33. The account balance drops to numbers that make your hands go cold every time you swipe the card. Meals begin to be measured and weighed, not by calories, but by the number of days you have left to exist. Friends thin out. No arguments. No cutting ties. It's just, you are no longer on the list. The networking, drinking sessions happen somewhere that you are not informed about. They are busy, or they avoid. People fear the bad luck of the one who has lost power, infecting them. No one says it straight, but their eyes change color. From respect to pity, then from pity to avoidance. You go home. The gaze of parents is no longer proud. It is a question mark hanging in the air. When are you going back to work? No blame. No shouting. Just a gentle reminder. You are becoming a burden. In this world, love also needs conditions. You go apply for a job. Sitting before people younger than yourself. They flip through the profile. Stop at the gap. Silence. Then look at you. Like looking at an out-of-fashion item. They ask small questions, but heavy ones. They speak in polite voices, but step on you, centimeter by centimeter. And you do not resist. Not because they are right, but because you are hungry. You need work. You need money. You need that chain to still be able to eat. Kindness is a privilege reserved only for those with value left. As for you right now, every smile has a price tag. And that price is paid by wearing down your own self-respect. The phone stops vibrating. The room grows wider. And the world out there still turns. It's just that it no longer needs you. Episode 34. How does it feel when you are still standing in the middle of a crowded street. But suddenly realize, you have been erased from this life. Without any notification? Before, you were afraid of being disturbed. Afraid of the phone ringing. Afraid of urgent messages. Now, you are afraid of the silence. A thick silence. No echo. No response. You open the contacts. Hundreds of names. But there is no one to call just because you want to hear a human voice. Everyone is busy. Everyone is running. Everyone is climbing. No one has time for someone who has fallen off the racetrack. You step out onto the street. The flow of people overflows past your shoulders. No collision. No eye contact. As if you have no mass. You go into the supermarket. Buy a loaf of bread. A bottle of water. The cashier does not look at you. Only looks at the barcode. Beep. Done. You are processed. Not acknowledged. Night. You sit on the balcony. Looking at the lit windows. In the building opposite. In each of those lit frames. Is a life taking place. A role. A necessity. As for you, standing in the darkness, realizing you are only an incomplete zero. No contribution. No influence. No one waiting. If you disappear tonight, tomorrow morning the city still wakes up. The system still operates. Other components are still pumped with energy. The void you leave behind will close itself so fast that no one will have time to realize there was once a hole. It turns out, the trap is not being exploited. It is the moment you realize you were never important. This world does not need you. And that solitude is colder than poverty. It is cold because no one comes to take it away. No one drives it away. It is simply that no one needs it. Out of money. Out of relationships. Out of hope. And now, you are also out of reasons to open your eyes. Have you ever seen yourself standing at the bottom of an abyss? Looking up and realizing the most terrifying thing is not that you can't climb, but that you no longer want to climb? Episode 35. The self-reminders to try hard have run dry. They become ridiculous. Like a speech echoing in an empty room. The dreams of the past now look like cruel jokes told to someone who believed for too long. You lie still. The room darkens. Then brightens again. You don't turn on the light. Don't pull the curtains. Light or darkness no longer makes a difference. To a person who has stopped, you no longer feel shamed. Because shame needs a bit of pride to exist. And you dropped that a long time ago. You also no longer feel lonely. Because loneliness needs something to look forward to. Someone to lose. But you have let go of everything. Before your eyes, there is only a gray flat surface. Not high. Not low. No emotion. Hunger begins to claw. Just slightly. Like a weak reminder that you are still alive. You look into the kitchen. Empty. And instead of panicking, you only feel sleepy. Sleep becomes the last refuge. Not for resting, but to escape the truth that you are still breathing. Outside, the world is still hurrying. The sound of engines. The sound of car horns. The cries of street vendors. All of it rings out. Like sounds from another planet. A place where you once belonged. But now have been deported. Without the right to appeal. And then you realize. A truth cold to the point of paralysis. When you fall out of the system, you don't just lose income. You lose the very concept of who I am. You don't know how to exist. Without a title to cling to. A job to do. Someone to serve. Without a role. You dissolve. At the bottom of this abyss, there is no echo. There is no saving light. Only you. Slowly dissolving into the darkness. And for the first time, you understand. Hitting rock bottom truly is not losing everything. It is when you realize losing it all is also okay. Because from the very beginning, you never had anything that was truly yours. Everything has shattered. The kind promises, the paper tanks, and the self that was once called successful. At the bottom of the abyss, no echo remains. Only you. And the silence. When there is nothing left to lose, you finally realize the only thing that has never left you is this breath. Episode 36. You still lie there. Not struggling. Not thinking. Just lying. And then the chest moves slightly. One beat. Then another beat. Slow. Deep. Not for any goal at all. That is not the breath of a diligent employee. Not the breath of a repentant failure. Not the breath of someone trying to remake their life. Just the breath of a living creature. It does not need a title to continue. Not needing anyone's recognition to exist. Not needing a polished future to justify its presence. Today, there is no glorious rebirth. No divine light shining down the mouth of the abyss. Nor is there any hand extended to pull you up. There is only a person who just opened their eyes, seeing a very small piece of sky high above, and realizing, I am not dead yet. Up there, the world is still operating. The gears are still grinding their teeth. The system continues to swallow other people, as if no one had ever fallen down here. But down here, in this moment, you are no longer called by name. No longer requested. No longer measured. You do not owe anyone success. No one a perfect role. No one any explanation. This series closes here. No lesson. No message. No promise. There is only one naked truth. You are breathing for the first time. Not to serve any system.